Hello, welcome to a special video, I suppose. It's a set Musings, but we've got a new set out. So as I always try and do, try and do it as early as I can now. I've also, I think since I sort of took a backward dive into a set, I've slightly changed the way I slice and dice these set Musings episodes now. For the better, I think. This is the way I'm going to do it, certainly going forward with any set Musings, be it a new set or where I choose to go back in time, because there's quite a lot of historical stuff I want to do outside of the usual standard timeline, which I know I've never covered. Okay, but today we're going to take a look at Murders at Karlov Manor, because it's coming out on February the 9th, so that also means there's a pre-release imminent. I assume the week before that, so I always try and make sure these are available before the pre-release, just in case anybody watching these is intending pre-releases. So this gives you a sort of helicopter view of the set, and that's how we're going to start off, and then we slowly drill down. So we start off, I'll scroll through the overall set, looking at what they're calling draft cards on Scryfall, and those are really just the sort of regular artwork cards, of which, as you can see, there are 286. Then we'll go on to the sort of alternate art treatments, stuff like that. On the tabs, I'm going to work through, as I did in a previous video when I changed this up, I'll work through the rarities and the colours of magic. Under those rarities, obviously the 5 colours, well actually it's going through colours I suppose, and then rarity, also including artifacts and lands as well in their own little slice. And within the subdivision of colour and rarity, ordered by mana value. So you can get a feel for the cards on the curve in certain colours. Now this set is a 2-colour set. Well, it's a multicolour set. And the multicolour cards, I think all of them are 2-colour cards. It's based on the Ravnica guilds. The storyline is around Ravnica. So it's set on Ravnica. And in and around Karlov Manor, I'm assuming, and it's a murder mystery set. Yeah. So now once we've gone through the slicing and dicing based on colour, rarity, mana value, I'm going to look at some cycles. I can't resist looking at cycles. Of course, there's going to again be a bit of repetition here, because you would have seen them already. And then we'll finish off with a couple of useful links. I'll also include all of these links in the description, and I'll also include a link to the MTG wiki article. I don't have it on the main area here because of just all the advertising really messes things up. So let's scroll down. As we do that, I'm going to go through the themes and mechanics, just point them out. So I'm going to do this for these episodes going forward, so I don't have individual tabs for each of the themes and mechanics. We'll just have a look at these when we see the sort of explanatory rules text. So you'll notice you've got something called disguise. So disguise, suspect, investigate, cases is what you want to look out for. There's also this sort of collect evidence ability, keyword ability word. You'll see things like solved cropping up. So there's these enchantments which will start case of, which we'll see again when we go through the cycles. So you can see when the case enters the battlefield, then to solve, and then solved. So they're broken down like that. You can see we've got investigate here, which we've seen before in sets. So investigate, create a clue token. It's an artifact with 2, sacrifice this artifact, draw a card. Pretty straightforward. Obviously there's other evergreen mechanics in the set as well, outside of what is particularly there because of the theme, mechanic and keyword abilities that they want in the set to back up the theme of the set. So here's disguise. So this one, disguise, 4 and a white. You may cast this card face down for 3. Okay, so that's similar to something we've already come across in Magic's history. As a 2/2 creature with ward 2, turn it face up any time for its disguise cost. So it also has ward 2 on it. There you can see. There. There's quite a number of them actually. Okay. Interesting to see is we've got cards here, not necessarily on theme, but cards that care about, power. So it's interesting to look out and see if there's a sub-theme, which isn't the main part of the set around. Yeah, look. A little bit going on there. There's another disguise one. In more investigate. Exile target attacking creature. Okay. More investigate. Yeah, a lot of investigate. You can see quite a bit of disguise. Yeah, there's another case there. You'll see there's some references here to and for the naming. You'll probably notice the connection with Clue or Cluedo or whatever it's called in whatever region of the world that you're living in the UK. It was always called Cluedo. North America, I think it's always Clue. Could be wrong there. You notice not many white cards, not many blue cards as well, not many of the monocolour cards. That's because, Ravnica Guilds. So, more investigate. Oh, let's collect evidence. Collect evidence, 3. Tap target creature you don't control. To collect evidence, 3. Exile cards with a total mana value of 3 or greater from your graveyard. Okay. Oh, there's disguise again. Got Surveil in the set. I don't know how much though. That's not listed on the MTG wiki page as necessarily being a specific theme or mechanic of the set, but it's clearly there. And the usual evergreens like Menace and Flash and Flying. Oh, there's Wither as well. Oh, they've thrown in for good measure. Oh, there we go, look. If repeat end offender is suspected, so this is this suspect thing, put a 1/1 counter on it, otherwise suspect it. A suspected creature has menace and can't block. Okay, so we've seen disguise, we've seen suspect now, we've seen investigate, we've seen some of the cases, and we've seen collect evidence. So that's good. And you can see we got ward as well cropping up. Some of it's like embedded within disguise. The disguise card. Again, I'm trying to scroll through this fairly slow because while I'm not able to point everything out, you can sort of see here, hopefully get a top-down look at the set before we start to drill through the rarities and the points on the curve, which is I think I've done it several different ways. It's definitely my favourite way of analysing sets is to look at the curve relative to the colour and rarity. I learn a lot from that. Oh, look, collect evidence again. 8. Wow. Okay. There's our cases in green. Yeah, you'll see the cycle properly later on in this episode. Got some modal stuff, and then some other cards where they're two colour because of the not in the casting cost, but there's an activation cost. Okay, so we're now onto the multicoloured stuff. Interesting. So more investigate here. I'll be going through these cycles later on as well, in addition to looking them. You know, seeing how different colour combinations clump on the curve, I think is really interesting. Like how soon you can get them out. I don't think there's any hybrid mana 1-drops. So, but we'll see. I haven't seen any. You can see we've got a lot of disguise in the set. Interesting. That's going to be interesting when we look at it on the curve, isn't it? See, like, I can see somewhat common here. Ooh, okay. Some of these. Right. Looks like a cycle. Ah, hurrah, here's our artifact. Although I definitely, you know, I've professed my love of artifacts before, but yeah, I definitely prefer the old school sort of artifact artwork, I think. Something about it. Oh look, we've got dual lands here. Oh, they've got Surveil on them. Look at the top card of your library and put it into your graveyard. Okay. They do come into play tapped as well, interesting. And they're at higher rarity. So we'll have to look at the rarity for non-basics. See what the mana fixing is like, because that's interesting if you're drafting this. Oh look, we got some special full art lands. Yeah, that's an interesting look. Cityscapes. It's symmetrical. Sadly, that yeah, you know what I'm going to say. That sort of look with, you know, sticker spire everywhere sort of thing as well is very. If you've seen some of my sort of slightly more jokier GPT episodes with artwork, yeah, that looks very Chat GPT like, doesn't it? Yeah, I'm sure it isn't. They would never do that, would they? Come on. There we go. And we will look back at the artwork. Don't worry, I'll spend a little more time on that. So 12 borderless cards. Okay, looks like what have we got here? Yeah, the land, the rare lands. Oh, a couple of these. Magnified showcases. Oh look, yeah, look at the style there. Okay. So obviously these are alternate artwork for the stuff we've already seen. I didn't look actually to see if there's any like a special set alongside this. Yeah, so not sure about that. I know there's other sort of cards, not cards, other product, which we'll get onto at the end a little bit. Or I'll just show you, we can look that up. But yeah, I don't, with these new sets, I don't always, I dive in quite a bit, just go for it, so. Okay, there is something called special guests. So I'm sure that's gonna, if it doesn't crop up, I'll have a look for that. 10 special guests. There's also, again, I don't cover this, there's a Commander decks to go with this. 4 Commander decks, I believe. With 45 never seen before Commander cards. Yeah. There's a Clue edition of Ravnica as well, like the actual game. The mystery game, published by Hasbro. Oh yeah, it looks a bit different. No, it looks like it's some twist on Jumpstart. I'm looking at this off screen, but yeah. Invisible ink showcases. No doubt we'll see it when we look at the other product lines here. So yeah, that's the problem I find. There's just so much stuff going on. With each set, it's always difficult to know when I'm doing these, like how far down the rabbit hole I want to go. Oh, these invisible ink showcases. So apparently, it's a special foiling where when you look at it at a certain angle, parts of it sort of pop out. So it'd be interesting when people start. Oh look, there we go. I think there it is. There might be an example of it. Yeah. So I'm sure we remember doing like secret writing with those pens as a kid. City showcases 8 cards. Extended art, 33 extended art cards. And of course now we don't, I think as of this set, I'm right in saying we don't have booster packs anymore. They have play boosters, which replace both the draft boosters and the set boosters. Yeah, also the amount of common cards in the set's gone down. 101 to 80, and uncommons from 80 up to 100. And the rare surveil lands are put in the wildcard slot of the boosters rather than taking the rest. So there's definitely some sort of card distribution shenanigans going on in these boosters as well to watch out for. Because that got me wondering. I'm thinking in a dual coloured set, a Ravnica set, you want to have the ability to play 2 colours, and obviously having access to dual lands is a good way of doing that. So it looks like they've got some rare surveil land shenanigans going on using the wildcard slot of the booster. Collector's boosters are available. There's a bundle, and as I said, 4 commander decks. Bundles now contain 9 booster packs and 30 lands. I think that might now be these play boosters in them, but yeah, I'm not sure. Well, no doubt we'll have a look. Like I say, I like doing these as well because I've not looked at the set at all, apart from enough to prepare this. Okay, so it's a top-down overview out the way. Let's look at the commons at white, including any that might be paired up with another colour. There's going to be repetition of that, but yeah, I'm fine with that personally, because it gives me a nice idea of how secondary colours fit on the curve alongside everything else. Okay, what have we got? So we're at common. We got one drop investigate. Okay, here's our two drops. So already we've got red-white combination sneaking in. Okay, number of two drops at common white. Yeah, and there's our three drops. Oh, here's some more multicolours. We've got an artifact as well, but it is a coloured artifact. So white, blue, white, black sneaking in. Okay, so red, white was the first one we saw there. Okay, let's make you move. Okay, so now we're on to our, from here we're on to our four drops. Starting to see some more dual coloured stuff. Okay, green, white. So in white you can see we've got red, white, white, black, white, blue. There's the green, white one. What's the highest common here in white? This one. So we're seeing disguise, investigate at common. Yeah, there's quite a lot of disguise at common. So clearly when you open packs, if you just opened one pack, and we'll see how that translates across the colours, it's probably going to be hard not to see a disguise card, possibly not to see an investigate card. Okay, moving on. So now, keeping in the same colour, we're now on to uncommons. So, okay, so here's our one drops. Disguise. There's actually a couple of cases of white. Lightning Helix is in the set. You can see red, white. So 2 to cast, 2. These are going to be placed a little bit weird. On these, so yeah. So you can see it's here because of the first part of the card is 2, 1 and white, black hybrid, but the second half here is 4 and 4 black, red. So yeah. Okay, so it looks like, yeah, it's quite a lot of 2 drops, aren't there, uncommon in white. Yeah. So moving on to the 3 drops, a couple of those. 4 drops. 5 drops. 6 drop, and this is here because of the green white component here is a 6 drop, and there we go for that part. Interesting. Look at 110, wow. I'm obviously not going to be able to point out verbally everything, but one of the reasons why I'm sort of slow rolling this is a bit is so that you can spot stuff, hopefully. Okay, yeah, there's another one of the clue equipments there. So what are we seeing here in terms of the 2 colour combinations? So red, white, white, blue. So red, white's the first one. So yeah, it looks like the red, white stuff's pretty low down on the curve at the moment. White, blue. We'll come on to the draft indicator cards as well later as part of the cycle. It's white, black. Okay, so at common we're definitely seeing a lot more of the 2 colour stuff as being in a point on the curve where it's you know, castable early. So, you know, it just literally has one of each colour. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out in the different rarities and the different the colours as well. Whether some that's easier than others. So we're now on to rares and mythics. I do those together. So now we've got our 2-drop dual colour stuff. Is white blue. So 1-drop case. 2. Interesting here, look. Quite a number of our 3-drop 2 colour cards. There's white, black. We're going to see some cycles as well for this. You can rest assured of that. Okay, interesting hybrid card for. So there is some stuff beyond 2 colours here, but look at the way this can be combined, which is always interesting. And you see there, that could be cast with all green if we wanted to. So that could go in a. Now, would there be any advantage in? Is there any downside? Each non-land permanent you control is all colours. So we could put this in a mono green deck. So yeah, interesting combinations here. So because of that, well, we got white green, blue green, black green, red green, and then yeah, I think all colours in between, isn't it? Although there's no instance where we would need necessarily all 5, or we would want all 5 colours to cast it. Yeah. Huh. Yeah, interesting. Oh, here's some 3 colour stuff. There's a 5 colour. Okay. But yeah, interesting to see it on the curve, isn't it? I think that's why I like doing this. I mean, obviously, with this, that's the earliest you're gonna see it is a 5-drop. It'd be interesting to see if we've got any 3-drop 3 colour cards. Yeah. Okay, on to blue now. Back to commons. Interesting yeah, combinations here. So what do we got? There's some 2-drops. But in blue, at common, we're not seeing 2 colours kick in until 3-drop. Fairy Snoop. Okay. So are we going to have a... Well, we'll have to see when we get to uncommon, won't we? We're going to have a bit of a sad face if we're white blue flyers folks like myself. I got blue black flyers. So at common in blues is where we get, first instance, we get it combined with red. There's our white blue flying vigilance. But yeah, I suppose in that case it would be nice to have a nice power toughness. So that's 3, 2 for 4. It's got disguise on it. And it has vigilance, okay. I didn't really, one thing I didn't do was just pointing out I haven't specifically pointed out the removal stuff, I don't think, specifically at common, because that's always interesting. We've got a counterspell here, soft counterspell. I'll just quickly jump back to white there. Yeah, that's why we see that kicking at common. Yeah, always interesting to see where the removal, pseudo removal, in some cases where it is at, if any, at common. Okay, so 25 uncommons. What do we see? Well, a few one drops there. Again, look, disguise everywhere. So, uncommon in blue, a first two colour card. And it's a 2-drop, is this Evidence Examiner. But yeah, a lot more. This looks slightly, I'm just looking at the 2-drops here. There's Private Eye again, because we've already looked at white. Okay, a bit of tucking going on there. This is here because of hustle. Yeah, it gets a bit mixed up with this. It's here because of hustle, but it's here on the curve because of bustle. And you've got fuss and bother. Right, moving on to uncommon. Oh, okay. There's, of course, it gets a bit confusing because it puts the X spells down the bottom here, although you would have to invest more into this. So sort of ignore this and this in its curve placement, and imagine you've got to play this obviously a lot further up to do anything with it. But it's interesting, isn't it? We're at, what, rare now. So we're seeing quite a number of these 2-colour cards here. So 2-colour 2-drops. Here's all our 3-drops. And it's Cryptic Coat. Interesting. Where do our 3-drops start? Here. Yeah, okay. Oh yeah, looks like we've got some adventures here. As this card will be cropping up a lot because it's in multiple colours. It'll appear on every rare one I do. But yeah, you can see again here quite a number of 2-coloured legendary creatures. No surprising there. No surprise there. Right, what do we got here? Where's our removal in black at common? Okay, interesting. Oh, that's an expel, so it's going to scale again, yeah, against for what we want to remove. Interesting sack effect there. What's that? But it's got, as an additional cost to cast this spell, you may collect evidence 6. Oh, if evidence were collected, instead each opponent suffers a creature. The greatest power among creatures you can do. Okay, so I've got 2 modes to it, I suppose, indirectly. Based on how much you decide to spend. So they've got Motor in the set. So there we go, 3 drop. Straightforward, destroy target creature at common. Where was our first 2? So is this our first one in? If we were playing black with another colour, yeah. So blue, black and white, black. And we got our 4 drops and our 5 drops. And we top out common with the 6 drop. Okay, here we go. Yeah, a lot of, yeah, this one's slightly less than some of the stuff we've looked at in white and blue, I think, at uncommon. And definitely like gravitating around that, black, green. Another removal spell, but conditional. Yeah, look again. Common, we're definitely seeing like a strong presence of 2 drops at common. Oh, sorry, at uncommon. Did I say common? I meant to say uncommon. And I wonder, is that as a result of the increase in the count of the uncommons, or part of the reason? I mean, when you open a pack, you're still going to see less of them than you do commons, but even so, it's interesting. Wow. Certainly an interesting set. As always with, now there's just so much going on. But yeah, tons of disguises, you probably gathered. Right, higher rarities, so rares and mythics. It looks like these cases are sort of jumping around in terms of where they are on the curve a little bit. But notice here, there's no 1 drop in, so we're currently in black, or combinations there, or well, actually wouldn't. Yeah, again, I'm pretty sure there isn't a 1 drop hybrid. I might be proved wrong before the end of this, but I'm pretty sure that's the case, based on what I've seen so far. Oh, our friend again. Yeah, here we got several white-black cards. One is a mythic. Well, 2 mythics there. I know this is part of a cycle. We got some, pretty high casting costs, like some 6 drops here. 6 drop. And hopefully as I'm doing this, you'll see, so I've sort of negated to some degree the need to do a big spells slice for this. Okay. Red 1 drops, that common. We have a goblin. Makes me smile. There's Dog Walker again, which we've seen already because of white. So, yeah. Red herring. I always wonder with this as well in a like a set where it's predominantly or angled towards sort of 2 colour, or in this case like the Ravnica Guilds, you know, is there like a room or an opening for like a super fast monocolour deck in drafting? I'm talking about here for when you're drafting. That'll just, you know, be so fast while people are trying to get their you know, their colour combinations together. It's just swinging in with damage. I'm not sure if I really see that. There's a 1-2 for 1. Interesting. And again with this episode, if anybody is attending a pre-release or just drafting this after the fact, once this hits, you know, the shops and things, let me know. Let me know what sort of stuff you saw, like interest. Well, I mean anything, but particularly sort of interesting things. Okay, we got a sudden increase there. So what we got? 1 drop, quite a number of 2s. We're at common rare here as well. There's our, yeah, 2-3 drops, and then we're up to 4, 5. Yeah, okay. Riftburst Helion, 5 red green for 6/7 with disguise. So here, yeah, so shocks here, looking at the, you know, common removal in red. We have galvanize, so 2 drop. Okay, moving on to uncommon. Okay, frantic scapegoat. So let's see whether we get the normal sort of bump around the 2 drops in uncommon that we've been seeing. So here's our 1 drops in red. So Goblin Goat deck in the making. Okay, what's that? That's an X and red spell. Sorcery speed. I suppose the culprit. So here's our 2 drops. Yep. Yeah, okay, yep. So I'm definitely seeing this, so yeah. Okay. 3 drops for Tin Street Gossip. I'll scroll back in a moment to see where our dual coloured stuff first kicked in. Let's hustle and bustle and fuss and bother again. Push and pull. What do we see? Yeah, so here. Blue, red, red, white. Lightning, yeah, of course the Lightning Helix is in the set. Cool. Okay. So it makes me want to play red, white. Okay, we'll see what the when we go through the draft indicators, I will sort of call out the what the sort of limited archetypes are supposed to be. Okay, onto rare now. Okay, yeah, so no one drops that have red in them at the higher rarities, and we've got black red, and of course this is just ordered within mana value. It defaults to name, if you're curious. I'm sure you've already worked that out. So yeah, some 2 drops here. And that's Krenko card. 2 and a red. There's a vehicle. I think that's one, maybe one of the, yeah, might be one of the, one of a cycle of various things. You'll see when we get to the cycle, it's a little bit confusing. It's one of those loosey-goosey cycles, you know, you sometimes see. There's our friend again. Aurelia, Judith. Okay, so quite a few multicoloured legendaries which have red in them. There's our 3-colour card again. Wolves and Elves, that is an interesting card, isn't it? With these as well, I've opted not to look at the cost of the cards because it's just so early on. So I've sort of dispensed with that, but I'll include a link to the full Scry full search so you can just do that if you fancy it. Yeah, so green, 1 drops, pick your poison. Okay, interesting to see a modal spell. Artifacts, enchantments. Okay, that's cool. So we've got, yeah, sacrifice a creature with flying. So, green, common, 2 1 drops. Some 2 drops. Or 3. 4. Topiary Panther. Funny. It's double green. Oh, there's Riftburst Helion again because we looked at red. News. Okay, uncommon. Let's have a look again. So, what was that? 4 1 drops. I didn't look to see where's our. Okay, so there's our pump spell. 1 in the green, 3/3 gains trample. Right. Okay. What we got going on here? So let's have a look at our 2 drops again. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so definitely a lot of 2-drop action going on at uncommon across the colours. And of course with a lot of these we've seen before, but so where they are doubling up. And that obviously is going to be distorting things a little bit. And yeah, I'm just trying to think, is that going to make a big... Yeah, I may have just realised the fault in my argument, because of course these are going to appear multiple times, but it does mean that there's lots of options to play 2 colours without being, you know, in a problem where you're going to have to wait till later. So yeah, until you have enough mana. big green spider, 5 and 2 green. It's a 3/3. So what do we get? So reach when enter the battlefield, distribute 3. Okay, that's where you get the extra stuff. And I'm assuming you can target it if you want to. So that could be what? 6/6 for 7. And with life gain. Okay, rares and mythics. What do we see? There's Doppelganger again. We've seen that before in Assassin's Trophy. So by now we would have seen all of these multicoloured cards. There's our green case. Interesting. 3 and a green. So yeah, they are all over the mana curve. So there's a spell where we've got sort of ward explained. We did see ward earlier. So whenever this creature becomes the target of a spell or an ability an opponent controls, counter it unless that player exiles cards with a total mana value of 4 or greater from the graveyard. So it's combined up ward with collect evidence. So there's a sort of the condition of ward with the condition of collect evidence as well. Funny. So is that, I suppose, is that like saying, you know, the ward cost is collect evidence 4? Is that the correct sort of syntactically the correct way of thinking about it? I'm not sure. Lots of nice legendary creatures here. There's our friend Voja. Right, moving on to the artifacts. So we got 4 artifacts at common. So single 1-drop and a couple of 2-drops and a 3-drop. You can see here's our mana generators, mana rock type things. Piece of equipment at common. It's always interesting to see what equipment there is at common. It's interesting as well, isn't it? In the early days of Magic, wasn't it a thing where you didn't really see artifacts at common? I might be wrong. So uncommon, and of course I'm excluding the land here. This is all colourless stuff that's not land. So we do have a colourless enchantment, an additional case, which is part of a cycle. We've got Lumbering Laundry and Magnetic Snuffler at uncommon, and they're pretty high casting cost. We've got a single artifact or colourless card at rare, which is Cryptex, 2-drop. Now looking at our land, there are basics. So a common, Escape Tunnel and Public Thoroughfare. At uncommon, we've got Branch of Vitu Ghazi and Scene of the Crime. Okay. This is where it gets interesting. So we've got 10 of these. So it's like obviously being a Ravnica themed set. Ravnica set. A set that's set in Ravnica. We've, it makes sense to have some sort of fixing. As I've said, these are at rare. There's all 10 of them. But as I mentioned, they've done some shenanigans with the wildcard slot. So be interesting to see on the ground in a gaming environment, how regularly you see these in packs. But again, see, they do come into play tapped. They do have surveil, so yeah. Curious about those. And of course, no set musings would be complete without a good look at our basic lands. So we've already seen, well, we've seen these already, but let's do a bit of a slow roll here. So, I mean, it's nice, you get the cityscapes with anything that's set in Ravnica. Which ones do I prefer here? I think this one maybe. I'm not sure about these, you know. Yeah, not sure. What about these, the islands? Maybe that one? I don't know. Oh, I like the swamps. Particularly this one. Mountains, this one. Well, it's got all the lightning in it. Why wouldn't you choose that? And yeah, I'll probably go for the gnarlier of the two, maybe forests. That's nice though. Reminds me a bit of the artwork that you see on some of those enchantments, the buff lands. Yeah, I'm not really drawn towards these, I'm afraid. Yeah. Okay. You know, I can't resist slicing legendaries. So 27 legendaries. Obviously these could be legendary creatures, legendary equipment, and these are on a curve here, so just to give you some idea. So you can see, yeah, lower stuff, yeah, blue black, white blue, blue black again as we go up the curve. We might be seeing a little bit of clustering around certain colours. Are we seeing maybe, is that the first time the red-green really kicks in, yeah? So, got a planeswalker here. We've got a legendary creature with an adventure on it. And we get up to the higher stuff. At top end, this thing, Pride of Hull Clade, 10 in the green. This spell costs X less to cost, where X is the total toughness of creatures you control. Has Defender on it, and it is actually green-blue with that card. And this is interesting as well, Trostani, which is part of a weird cycle. You know, we've got different casting cost colours here, the way that's done. Right, cycles. So we've got 5 cases of, and these are by colour, but you can sort of see. So lowest casting cost is the case of the Uneaten Feast. Then we've got case of the Stashed Skeleton. Then these two, and then as we pointed out, or I pointed out earlier, this one is the highest casting cost. If we move on to case, so yeah, sorry, I didn't quite clarify that. So these are the rare cases. There are also ones are uncommon, and they include the case of the Shattered Pact, I suppose, and also the fact there are actually 2 in white. So yeah, take of that whatever you will, but there's a lot of case in white, and yeah. So Okay, these are the lower casting cost ones. So the blue and the black. These are uncommon. And then what's the highest one? Well, these two, I suppose. 3 CMC, so 1 and 2 red, and 2 and a red, 2 and a green. And they all have this form that we saw earlier. Enter the battlefield to solve, solved. Right, what else? Oh yeah, these. So, what are these? I think they're called the clue artifacts. So 5 of these: wrench, candlestick, pipe, lead pipe, knife, rope. If you play Clue or Cluedo, you'll recognise these. Revolver's not in here. That's the 6th one of the North American one. Yep. And you can see they're all, not surprisingly, equipment. And look, there's this reoccurring sack effect here. So they're all 1 to cast. They're all equipped 2. The sack effect is 2, but of course they do different things thematically. Yeah, so they're all going to do damage, but the context is slightly different. So with this, you've got, did I miss out something? I did, didn't I? I think, yeah, inadvertently missed something out. Okay, I'll go back to those in a moment. You've actually seen them already. They are the cycle of hybrid cards. So let's just try and sort of do that on the fly now. So they're all 2 coloured cards. So colour is 2. They are uncommon. And they are, I think this works. Oh, is hybrid. No, it doesn't. Okay. Yep. Let me sort of find them here. Oh, I know why. Is it because of this? Did I... Is that it? Yeah, I'm doing something really stupid here, aren't I? I'm missing out on something. This is what happens when, yeah, you prepare at the last minute. It has its disadvantages. I basically know I've done something really silly. Just curious as to what I might have done wrong here. So they're coming up there. Oh, is that because, yeah, okay, I know what I've done wrong. It's because they're not, yeah, they're hybrid, but they're in split cards, so of course it's going to be completely different, isn't it? So some of those are, let's try and, there we go. Okay, that's better. I'm glad I did that actually, because it's clarified this. So these are, 3 colour cards: white, black, black, red, blue, red, red, green, black, green, green, white. red, white, white, blue, and then green, blue, blue, black, and then this thing. Right, okay. So my point is, if we ignore this here is a cycle. Got there in the end. So then we get onto the Mythic Guild spells. Now, I've got 12 here. There's only 10 in the cycle, but I just wanted to illustrate sort of everything that's mythic and 2-colour, simply because the cycle itself is pretty lumpy. So the cycle is this one here, Trostani, Kaya, then this isn't apparently. Kylox is in the cycle. This isn't in the cycle. Melik. Urgent Necropsy is there. Agris, and then Vanifar. So of the 12 here, we see Tomic and Melik are not part of the cycle, according to MTG Wiki. Okay, so they're Mythic Guild spells. The vast majority of which are legendary, apart from Kylox, Volts Rider, which is a vehicle, and Urgent Necropsy, which is an instant. Okay, so moving on. What else do we see? So there's a cycle of 10 rare dual-coloured legendary creatures. Line up with the guilds. And of course we've seen all of these in passing already because we went through all the different colours. Then we've got 10 rare gold non-creature cards in each of the the 2-colour combinations, dual coloured. There we go. Instants, enchantments and sorceries. Moving on to the next double cycle. So you can see there's a lot of double cycles here that go through the full 2-colour combinations. These, which are the rare lands. So it's interesting, you probably spotted something already that doesn't always happen. So these are 10 real dual lands with the associated basic land types on them. They enter tap, but they have surveil. So these become important if you've got, and I haven't really specifically seen it in this set, but outside of the set, once you start putting these in other decks, where there's cards from other sets, where you've got cards that fetch specifically on a land type. So you don't always see this with non-basic lands, but here we do have it. So all the same, the only difference is in terms of what they do functionally. This additional thing here with surveil, but obviously in the different colours. Right, more double cycles. So these are the 10 uncommon dual coloured creatures, and they are each a signpost for the draft archetype. So what are apparently the draft archetypes? So detectives, so white-blue detectives, blue-black clues control, black-red suspect aggro, red-green big disguise, the green-white one is go wide disguise. You'll notice that, as I already pointed out, there's a lot of disguise here. White-black is pint-sized disguised, So that's probably why as well, you know, different sizes, you probably see the what was I going to say, you know, different powers and toughness, or carrying about different powers and toughness. Gleaming gear drake is what would this be? Artifact sacrifice. Black green grave break. What's that? It's magic slang for something. Yeah. I tried to look that up by the link, but I'm not having a lot of luck. So maybe you want to, viewers of the channel, educate me, and specifically, what is Gravebreak? I think it's some sort of recursion, possibly. But it might be obviously some sort of maybe some sort of reclam. I mean, obviously it's graveyard shenanigans, as I like to say. But not sure on that one. Red white, battalion. And then collect evidence, green blue. So another cycle, and a dual cycle of uncommon gold non-creature. So 10 uncommon dual coloured non-creature cards. Interesting as well with these, whether there's much in terms of, you know, how that overlaps. I suppose think of them as more supporting the two colour combinations, or those, you know, those signpost draft archetypes. Be interesting to see how well they synergize with the archetypes actually, or whether they work to, you know, make you play, say, 3 colours. They synergize that way, perhaps. And then finally, common hybrid disguises. 10 common dual coloured creatures that undisguise for 2 hybrid mana. Oh, okay. I see what they're on about. Yeah, so it's all about the disguise in this set. A couple of things before I wrap this up. So, a couple, if you're obviously unfamiliar with the set, I'll include a link to the MTG Wiki article. Also a link to the main page on, do they still call it the mothership, on Wizards, for the set. But I think I've said this before, the bit I find a little bit more interesting, and I'll include a link, is the link to the Wizard Play Network, which is intended really, I suppose, for shops, distributors, basically people that physically sell Magic cards in some capacity. And so it goes through all the different product lines that come out now. So pre-release packs, play boosters, booster displays, collector boosters, the display, commander decks, the bundle, the Ravnica Clue edition, where they're sort of playing around with, we'll have a look at that actually, what is it? So it's a Clue inspired spin. Yeah, you've got boosters, you've got evidence cards. They're called Clue edition boosters. Yeah. So very similar to sorts of things we've seen before, which previously were designed as a sort of bridge between limited and constructed, but then just put in a sort of alternate gaming environment. Is this just 2-player or multiplayer? Oh no, just 2, yeah, so it is. So that will be what? 4 player, yeah, okay. Yeah, 4 player. Does have things like the carton information if you're curious about that. You know, if people are bulk buying stuff. There's the bundle. Yeah, so that includes play boosters, so that answers my question here. So this is good if you want sort of straight answers on what the contents is of certain things, if it's not always clear through the main site. There's the Commander decks. And then the other thing about this, if you weren't aware, has lots of interesting download stuff as well, like things like the play booster breakdown, posters, that sort of stuff. Back in the day, this used to be where I came to get things like those limited deck building sheets, just because they were really nice for like ticking off what cards you had, and for other things as well, like recording stuff. I don't even know if they include those anymore on this site. They're probably somewhere, maybe. They're always more for tournament play than anything. Yeah, so it's interesting to see what's under the bonnet here. And instructions. It's also, if you want to be informed about the instructions that they give out to shops about what stuff they're supposed to be giving out as promos, just so you know what you should be getting at certain events or is on offer at certain events. Yeah, so there we have it. Thanks once again for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the particular format and way I did this. I certainly really enjoyed doing it this way. Brought a big smile to my face. Like going in cold, I really enjoy it, because even when you mess up 3/4 of the way through, but yeah, it's cool. So thanks once again for watching. Bye for now, and I will catch you in a future episode.